Hi everyone, I hope you all are doing great. So in this video, we are going to understand one of the most important and commonly asked interview question. What happens when you type a URL in the browser and press enter? And you might have wondered yourself as well when you write a URL or like search about any website. So how it basically shows the content, how it basically present the screen to you. So what happens behind the scene? So this is the most important question and we will be understanding this in this video, and this question is being frequently asked in the product based companies like Google, Amazon and many other. So let's just go in depth and understand that. But before going in deep into each step, let's first look at the overall flow at the high level, how things are working. So let's first start with this DNS. So when you enter a URL, the browser first need to find where the website actually exists, which is done by using DNS. So like each website has its IP address associated with that, because computer don't understand the website domain name, it understand the IP address. So each website has its IP address. So first step is that. Now once we get the IP address, so it establishes the connection with the server using TCP, and if the website type is secure, it uses TLS to encrypt the connection. So like here, using the TCP we basically makes a secure connection, and once our connection is secure, then we go to our next step. And here in this TLS, what we basically do is, if you have heard about the SSL certificate, we makes our website secure so that the communication between client and server is secure, and like anyone is not able to see it, and it should be encrypted. So this is also a very important process. Now once we are done with these three steps, like we have find the IP address, and then we have like started a secure connection, and we have added this SSL certificate, and we made it secure. Now the next step is basically the server process. Like after that, the browser sends an HTTP request to asking for the web page. So browser basically send this HTTP request to server, and it asks for the web page. Now in response, the server processes that request and send back a response, usually in the form of HTML. So like browser asks for the HTML page, and server basically send that HTML page. And once we got the HTML page, then our render process start, and this is the most important process. So in this, we basically create some. Now let's move on to the first part of the process, which is the network phase. Now this whole process is called the network phase. So this is where the browser actually connects with the server and requests the data. So first step here is this, if you could see, DNS. So DNS basically means domain name system. So you can think like when you are typing something, let's say google.com, your browser don't understand the name. So DNS convert it into an IP address. So as I earlier told you as well, browser don't understand the names, it understand the IP address. So using the DNS, we convert that name to the IP address. Now if you want an example, so you can think of like uh, saving a contact name in your phone number. Instead of remembering the number, you are just use the name. Now if you can just normally think, let's say in the phone, we save any number, so we save it using the name, because name is easily remember, so we can easily remember the name. But actually we have a phone number there, so exactly the same way. So name here is the domain name, and the phone number here is the IP address. So that's how you can understand it. So this is the first step. Now after we get the IP address, now let's move to the second step. Now once we have the IP address, the next step is the TCP. If you could see the second step. Now TCP basically means transmission control protocol. So TCP basically establishes a reliable connection between your browser and the server using the three way handshake. So what happens is, like, you can understand it in a such a way. Let's say you are making a call to anyone, and you are waiting to connect, but your connection is established, like you are waiting for another person to pick up the call, but your connection is established. So that's happen in the TCP as well. So browser establish the connection between the server using the TCP. Yeah. So this is the step. Now let's move to the third step, which is the TLS. Now you can say after the like TLS basically means transport layer security. So TLS is basically used when the website is HTTPS. Like if you have normally see, we have two types of website, HTTP and HTTPS. Now HTTPS means our website is secured. So TLS is used when the website is HTTPS and it secures the connection by encrypting the data. So when we are connecting from the like browser to the server, now our connection should be secure, otherwise anyone can see like how we are communicating. So it should be encrypted so that nobody is able to see that. So you can think in the real world, you can think like if you are communicating to your friend but your language is very you can say private, only you two can understand it, the third person don't know what you are talking about. So that's what called the encryption in the overall view. So yeah, so TLS basically encrypts our data and so our connection is secure. Now this next phase is where the server responds and the browser start processing the data. Now if you could see in the slide as well, once the HTTP request reaches the server basically processes it and prepares the response. So this response usually contains the HTML document as a server send, and with along with that it also sends the 200 code, which means successful. So in the API calls we have different codes like 200, 201, 404 not found. So these are basically the error code, and these are the standard across the whole industry. Now everyone uses these codes only. So each code has its significance. So let's say if server is sending the HTML, so it also send the 200 code, which means our request is successful. Now if you want to understand using the real world example, you can think of it like a restaurant preparing your order and serving it back. So restaurant, like you requested the restaurant to prepare, let's say some order. Now that is called the request phase, where you are asking server to prepare something. Now that restaurant like gives back that specific food which you asked. So that is the response phase which you are seeing here. Now food means you can say think of HTML, like server serves the HTML along with the 200 code, which means successful. Now once we receive the HTML, once the browser receives the HTML, which is basically the structure of web page. Now I hope you understand the basic HTML at this point. So HTML basically means the overall structure of web page. Now at this point, browser basically start to read the HTML from top to bottom. So if you could see here, we have the DOM tree. Now once browser receives the HTML, it basically creates the tree like this, where we have HTML head, and it basically creates the structure. Now while parsing, the browser built something called DOM. If you could see here, this is the DOM tree only. Now you can think of DOM tree like it's a tree like structure that represent all the elements of the web page. Now if you could see, this looks like a tree and it represent all the element. Now this head contains the title and the meta, and body contains the main content, where we have whatever we have on the website. So yeah, so this is the. Now let's move to the final step, which is called rendering. Now once the browser has processed the HTML and created the DOM tree using the HTML, it creates the CSS OM tree using the CSS. Now these both combines and basically makes the render tree. Now render tree only contains the visible elements that are needed to be displayed on the screen. Now this only shows the visible element, not the like if we have done the display none, so it will not show, it will only show the visible elements only. Now after the we have the render tree. Now it basically we go in the layout phase. Now this layout phase basically means after that the browser perform the layout, which where it calculates the size and position of each element. Now if you have seen, like when we write the CSS, we give the size and font size and all those things. Now in the layout process, which is the third step, we basically calculate all the sizes and all the positions of each element, so the browser can represent and show it exactly how it is there in the CSS. Now this layout do all the calculation of size and position, and after that once the layout is completed, now next step is called painting step, where browser actually fills the pixels on the screen. Now in this last step, if you could see, if like browser basically fills all the pixels and do all the CSS part, and do all the stylings. Now this is the moment when you finally see the web page. Now these all four things combines, and after that you are able to see the whole web page. Now you can think of it. So guys, this is the whole process, how you type your domain name in the browser and you see your result. So this is the exact process the browser follows. Now this question might come in your next interview as well, so you should prepare it well. So you can write down your answer, and you can just do the mock interview as well using chat gpt or anything. So because sometimes we know the concept but we are not well versed with the answer properly in the exact interview scenario. So you should practice that first, so that you can tell clearly interviewer how like you know about this properly. So you should do that, and if you have any issue or any sort of doubt in the whole video, so you can ask me in the comment section as well. I will try to answer it as soon as possible. And just one more thing, like from tomorrow or maybe day after tomorrow, I will be uploading regular videos in this course only, and the format will be same. We will be covering question by questions, and you will see in your next interviews as well. And if you're experienced developer, you might have seen previously as well, these are the sure short questions which are directly asked in the interviews. So it will really help you, so you can subscribe to the channel. And one more thing, let's say if you have interviews in coming days, or if you want to discuss regarding your career personally, so below I am mentioning the appointment link, so you can book your appointment there as well. Now it's your choice, like it's not mandatory, because most of the answer I will be giving through the videos only, so you can follow that. But yeah, if you have some urgency or any interview in coming days, so you can contact me for that. So thank you so much for watching the video. Let's see in the next video.